Okay, so the first chapter is your birth. Because, when you come out of the womb, then they hit you on the butt and you start breathing, then you're born, right? Apparently. But what's born? Because before you came out of the womb, you're in the womb, your life, no? Life is present.
Yeah.
Life is fully present. So born means coming to life, right? Coming to life. Born, coming to life, right? Well, when you're in the womb, clearly your life is present. You are life itself. It's still already, And before that, before the sperm and the egg touched, in each of those, the sperm and the egg, there's life present.
Right.
This life is not two different lives. It's life, period. Same one life is one thing. Like electricity is one thing. If it's going to two different things, it's still electricity. Electricity comes in your house and it goes to your stereo and your television. It's not two different electricities. Life. Sperm and the egg, life is present. Before them came into your parents' bodies, life is present, right? And
Right.
before them and before them and before them and, a million years ago, before humans, dinosaurs, life is present, right? Before that, reptiles, life is present. Before that, the single cell, life is present. Life is always present, right? So then the sperm and the egg meet, and they create a new cell. Life, same life though, not the same, still the same life, right? And that cell divides, and there's two cells, but it's not, nothing's born, right? Life has been present the whole time from the beginning of time. And then you go through the 9 months in the womb. Life is present. You come out of the womb, and they say now you're born. Okay, well, in a way, the body's born, but no, it's not. So you haven't taken a birth yet. You haven't taken a birth. You come out of the womb, and you're still life. This is not when you're born. So you come out of the womb, and you don't know there's your mother in the hospital and you don't know there's a you separate from everything. You can't remember back then, and this is why you can't remember, because there's no you there. But you can use your imagination to see this is true. You come out of the womb, or look at a baby, and there's no self-identification here, so that I'm separate from mother or something like this. Or I'm separate from world. There's only, baby sitting there, like, you know just full of wonder, but no one is the wonder. It's just life itself, being in wonder. And then, a year goes by, and your mother's been calling you Bob, Bob, Bob for a year, and nothing's happening. You don't, what is, yeah, some sound, that's it. Just some sound. And the mechanical, features of going to your mother, but this is just not mean there's a you there. It's just the way life functions, form. The baby goes to the mother and
Yeah.
feeds and all that stuff. But it's not someone that in there doing that. So there's no separation. Adam hasn't bitten from the fruit from the tree of knowledge yet. He's still living in the Garden of Eden, no separation, naked. Not even knowing he's naked. Just then, after a year or two, whatever it is, this your mother keeps attending to you and keeps pointing at you and calling your name, and then one day, this who you are, which is completely non-separated, life itself says, "I'm Bob." Oh my God. In that moment, Adam bites from the fruit from the tree of knowledge. The sense I am is born separate. He's thrown out of the Garden of Eden and self-consciously realizes he's naked. For the first time, he never knew he was naked. What naked? What's naked? You know.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you realize I am, and you are mother. Separation is born, right then. The age of 1 or 2, 1.5, whatever that is. In that moment, separation is born. That's the moment of your birth.
Okay.
Until then, there's no one here, right?
No awareness.
There's awareness. No, but I don't use that word. So
Okay.
You'll find out what I use later. But there's
Okay.
no separate self here. I am.
Okay.
You know this this ego. I am. There's no ego. I am. Ego just means I am separate.
Okay.
That's what ego means. I am separate from you, and I am separate from world. There's me, and then there's world. Two,
Okay.
duality. So this is your birth is the birth of duality. That's the birth. That's when duality is born. Because before that, there's no duality. There's only life, not separate, because there's no separate concept here of me separate from anything else yet. You see what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I see it.
Good.
It just begs the question about then when you reach a realization, when you drop the non-duality, when you reach that intimate knowing that you are that, I am that, do you lose your,
Okay.
do you
I don't.
become like a baby again? Do
I
you
don't want
lose
to.
your,
That's
oh, okay.
not. That's not
I,
a bad question, but I
I'm
don't
jumping
want to.
ahead.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
No problem. No problem. That's why and it's no problem, honestly. But that's why I say just for those kind of expectational questions, don't worry, because you're going to come to know all of that stuff. So, the age of 1.5 or something, you're born. You're born all of a sudden. This separate self duality is born. And from that first birth, and I say first birth for a particular reason, because you take births hundreds of times every day. But from that first birth, that first idea is built the whole castle. This whole fortress of ego self, Bob. You know, because first it's just, oh, I'm separate, and there's my mother. Okay, me, I, me, my. These things. There's my mother, and there's my father, and there are my toys, and there is my world, and you know what I mean. That's we start off very simply like this. But then it gets a little more complicated because then I am a boy and I am a good boy and I'm a Christian or Catholic, because that's what the, this information is being put in, tons every day. Data is being piled into this hard drive up here. No, this is what you are, whatever your religious background is, and and I'm American and I am from wherever state, and then you find out what all the millions of things throughout. This is pretty clear, right? On this first misidentification or this creation of self, this is first one little simple little seed of I am is built this fortress of self. And you see, by the time you're an adult, this self seems to be pretty solid, seems pretty impenetrable. It seems, and it seems very real as well. It seems very real. And that's why many people on the path don't think that the enlightenment is for them, because I know I got to kill the self, and that's too much of a daunting task. So because there's too much in there. But really, all you have to do is see through this first initial seed of self, and then it's just a house of cards. This whole story of Bob, upon which this is built upon this first sense of self, is easily dismantled. So for what I do, we don't go into all this stuff like blockages and getting rid of tendencies and concepts and all of that. That's not what we do. This is endless. I call this the carousel of mind. All the psychological models and most of our spiritual models are in this carousel of mind, running around trying to alleviate blockages and transcend this and get rid of this tendency and correct this behavioral pattern. And this is staying on this carousel of self forever. You never
Notice that. Yeah.
ever gonna get off the carousel of self that way. What I do is I help you jump off the carousel completely. We are not going around in that carousel anymore. That's seeking. That's constant seeking. We're going to end seeking, so we get off the carousel.